What's up, guys? This is something a bit different here. I joined this ghosting tournament. This is the fourth one on Smogon with my friends Advantage, aka I Play Tennis LOL, and Lysergic, aka Mob Bali. This is not my return to tournaments. This tournament was just a joke. It's not an official tournament, just for fun. So, yeah, I'm still not going to play any official tournaments like SPL. But this looked like fun. So, yeah, I'll just take you through all of our games because we ended up having a fairly good run with a couple of good games along the way. So this is not like super high level play, but it's higher level than the battles I bring you on the ladder. So I hope you enjoy this. And this is ORAS OU as well. So if you are all about Sun and Moon now, you don't need to watch this. But we've got to give ORAS a farewell because it just gets so much crap, and some of these battles made me appreciate that ORAS was actually a really fun metagame at times. So, without further ado, in round one we got matched with Sabella, Shadestep, and Zarif or Zarif. We sadly didn't get to play this game because scheduling was impossible. They were in the US East, the UK, and I think India, so that was like GMT -5, GMT +1, and GMT +5 or 6 in India. And then I'm GMT +11 in Australia, and my two teammates were GMT -8, so it was just never going to happen. But we made more effort to schedule, so we got the activity win, which is sad. I knew who Sabella was, but I hadn't spoken to him until after we were trying to schedule, actually. But he's a really nice guy, so I'm sad that we didn't get to play. We were going to bring Nasty Plot Earth Power Celebi with speed for Timid Heatran because from what we saw, Sabella loved to use like Mega Metagross, Heatran, Tangrowth, Balance kind of bulky offense team, so that would have really excelled against the types of teams he likes to use. But seeing as that game didn't happen, I'll just take you on to my round 2 game. If you want to look at the logs, as in the logs of Mob, Tennis, and I talking during the games, I'll put an annotation on the screen at the start of each battle, and you can click that to read the logs as you go through the replay. I don't want to put all the logs in the description because then you'll know how many battles we play, and that will be a disgusting spoiler. So yes, at the start of each battle there'll be an annotation for you to click if you want to read the logs, which are like the most fun part of this tournament, so I recommend having a look at those, although they are quite long. So yeah, up to you. Okay, so in round 2 we got to play Full Life Games and Memento Elm and Relis, I think is how you pronounce their names. They're all from Germany. Full Life Games is actually subscribed to me, so that was fun to play him. He has a bigger channel than I do. We didn't really know much about their playstyle, so we just brought this solid team that we all liked. TDK made this team. It does have Almamola, but it's like a bulky offense balanced team, so it's not absolutely disgusting. And they brought Mega Gara, which is one of our biggest fears. Like with Healing Wish Rachi, it's very hard to deal with because if it has sub, Almamola can't Toxic it. And we have to... The Mew is really fast, but it also can't outspeed Gara, which is sad. So we have to go into Land OT and then get kind of a 50-50 right, because if they Mega Evolve and we U-turn, we can put them in range of repeated Fake Outs from Lopunny. But if we U-turn and they DD again in regular form, we are in a lot of trouble. And then if we Stone Edge as they stay in regular form, we probably win too. So yeah, that's our biggest fear. Everything, like this team is one of those teams that can just get mewed. So we lead with Mew because this game happened a while ago, so yeah, sorry if I don't remember it too clearly, but I remember Mew being a huge asset in this game. We thought it would be Helmet Chomp because he pretty much loses to Bishop and like any physical attacker if it isn't. And Scarf Lando, like he doesn't really need Helmet Lando as much because he has multiple ground immunities for Excadrill, and yeah, he has like between Helmet Chomp and 2 Intimidators that are immune to ground, he should be fine against that. So we were inclined to think Helmet Chomp, probably Scarf Rachi, and this should be Defog because Mega Gara without Defog, unless you're using like absolute hyper offense, is not that good in my opinion. And then I just thought it'd be Specs Mag because like this Lando or this Rachi or both are likely to be Scarf. So yeah, that's what we were thinking. Maybe we thought it was like SD or Subtoxic Lando, because Subtoxic is a pretty cool set that Germans like to use. I think ABR came up with it, but Cosine kind of made it more popular. So yeah, Specs Mag always has a great matchup against me, so I decided to lead. Well, we as a team, of course, you have to remember this is Advantage and Lysergic and me. We decided to lead with Mew because we can just burn anything, and if he leads with Mag, knocking off the Specs is going to be really useful, so we do knock it off, and it is Specs. Just goes for Volt Switch, and he brings in Laddie, so we are very scared of Draco here because this Mew is quite fast, and like you can see how much it took from that Volt Switch, so it's not as bulky as your average Mew. I think it has 279 as the speed stat, so that's enough for Heatran, so you can taunt it before it Toxics you or taunts you. But yeah, this Draco Specs or Life Orb is threatening to OHKO us. We are also a bit scared of Surf because our only steal is Heatran, so I think we decide to go into Alomomola here because it can take a Life Orb or Specs Draco, and if they go for Surf, that works out well for us as well. So we got Alomomola and they go for Surf, and now here we double to Heatran, predicting either Mag to come in or them to Draco, I think. I think that's what we did here. So they switch to Mag, and Heatran comes in. I forgot to mention that Lysergic and Advantage weren't actually playing this game. They were both asleep, so I had all of my Oceania brothers with me. Snowy, Daft Mouse, Frizy, and Googly. So yeah, Daft suggested this Heatran play, and it sounded very hot, so that lets us get rocks up, which is amazing for the Gara, because this game is basically just don't lose to Gara, and like everything else is totally walled by Mew and Alomomola, and like this is worn down relatively easily, so then Lopunny just destroys them, and we have a really good matchup aside from the Gara basically 6-0ing us, so we just go into Mew here expecting them to go for rocks. Now this like has to be Helmet in our eyes because they just lose to every physical attacker if it's not. Like Lopunny, goodbye everything. Yeah, no switch-ins for Lopunny. Bishop especially just sucker punches everything. He has multiple Intimidate users, so this absolutely has to be Helmet. So we just go for Wisp here knowing we'll be faster, but it's actually offensive Chomp, so that was really surprising to us, but they just like SD and get burnt, so it doesn't really matter to us. And I actually have no idea what we do here, so let's just let the replay show us. He goes for SD again, and we go for Taunt. This was me being a genius, because if we just like stop it at +4, we can basically just soft-boiled until the Chomp kills itself. So this might be a bit weird seeing it take 12% from burn, but we're back in ORAS, so you have to accept that. And yeah, this is just like soft-boiled stalling it. And I think we get it low enough that even if it... Yeah, they Dragon Claw, they're trying to catch the land OT. But we get it low enough with this burn that even if they go to +6, we can still kill it before it destroys us. So now we just spam soft-boiled until the Chomp dies, but they catch on and you go into Magnezone on the soft-boiled. I hope that makes sense, like, because it was in range of 3 or 4 burn turns, even at +6, Earthquake only does like 60 or 65, so they will weaken us down to maybe 70 over the course of 3 Earthquakes and 3 soft-boileds, but that's not going to matter too much. So they're just going to Mag here. This is another easy Wisp as they Volt Switch, doing not really much damage, and Laddie comes in, so this is kind of another bad spot for us. We need to get the play right between Tran and Alomomola. I think we go to Alomomola again. No, my mistake, we go to Heatran because this game is all just about 50-50s, and they go for Psyshock. And at this point, we're like obsessed about keeping rocks up because, like I said, this game is relatively easy aside from that Gara, so we just want to keep rocks up. Like, if he starts surfing the Heatran, it doesn't actually kill from here, I think. And if he defogs and we get the Toxic on the Laddie, we can just spam rocks. So we stay in here as he goes for Psyshock again, which is kind of a weird play. That's, like, predicting the Alomomola really hard, so... Yeah, we're just Toxic here, and then we can just spam rocks. Oh dear. Sorry, I just skipped back to the start of the game because I'm stupid. But yeah, we decide to just Toxic this. Yeah, as he Psyshocks again. So that was now we're all caught up. And now we just spam rocks, I think, to ensure that they stay up for the Gara, because this is going to kill itself with Life Orb, and... Okay, we actually Lava Plume there, because if they go for Surf, they're going to be at, let's see, we'll see after this turn. If they go for Surf, they're going to be at 14% after this turn, and we were confident that we could prevent this from defogging if they were at 14%. We just need to keep our fast Mons in and not allow this to defog. So we're sort of sacking Tran to keep rocks up here, and they switch out expecting us to just go for rocks here, which is a smart play, as we do. But yeah, we kept rocks up for the Garrus, that's all we wanted, so this is a pretty easy chance to go into Mola as they go for knockoff, so we are still thinking maybe they're sub-toxic, although they don't have lefties, so maybe it's Double Dance, knockoff, or something. We're not too sure about the Lando, but We're also considering Scarf, but the Rachi is more likely to be Scarf, although it could be like Subtoxic to help with stall. So yeah, we scored the mag for a bit more damage and then just get off this free Protect. And we're going to keep Alamomola, of course, because they have a lot of physical threats for which it's important. We go to Laddie here because it covers... It prevents Gara from coming in, crucially, and we can take any hit from mag. The only way they're going to defog now, the Laddie is at 14% and burnt, so if it comes in on rocks, it takes a turn of burn and dies. So the only way they can defog now is by sacking something and then bringing Laddie in, so that's really good for us. They bring in this Lando, which is looking a bit Scarf now, so they go for U-turn, and we're fairly sure it's Scarf now. And they bring in the Gara, so now this is what we've been fearing for the whole game. It doesn't seem like they have defog on Laddie after all, because keeping this at 100 as opposed to 75 makes it much more threatening. So our best play by far is going hard into Lando here, because if they sub and we Toxic, we basically lose, whereas this way we get the Intimidate, and we're still faster than +1 Gara. So we go for U-turn here, because if we edge and they evolve and kill us, we lose Lando, and they can Healing Wish the Gara, and then we have like no counterplay to sub Gara. I hope that makes sense. But, like if we Stone Edge, they die, but it's that sort of intense prediction that I was talking about at the start of this replay. But we get that wrong, we go for U-turn into Alamomola, so at this point we just need to hope it isn't sub, because we have no other real counterplay. So we go for Toxic here. There is some hope of... like, the other play is going hard into Lando, but then if they sub, they just, like, waterfall us anyway and win. So our best play is just hoping it's not sub and going for Toxic. And thankfully it's not sub. So we probably would have lost if this was sub, but that's just like what you have to deal with when you use a team. All teams are going to have weaknesses. You get a crit +2 Earthquake there, but Alamomola just eats it up. And we can just Wish and Protect and then like sack something to this Gara and keep all of our useful ones alive. So yeah, Alamomola fortunately walls this because it doesn't have sub, so that is amazing. And we just sack Laddie here because it is relatively useless and Gara dies to the Toxic. So we can go to Lopunny here and finally evolve it as they bring in Rachi. I think we just Fake Out here, and that lets us scout for leftovers. It does damage as if it's Scarf Rachi, so we just switch out to be safe. We have a lot of ways to deal with Scarf Rachi as they go for the Heart Stamp, so no set except Scarf runs Heart Stamp, so I think we just go into... We're basically trying not to get flinched to death, so we just like go to Mola here to start PP stalling the 40 Heart Stamps they have, which is fantastic. So... we don't get flinched there, like it doesn't really matter because we have regen and a psychic resist, so yeah, we break through like every time. I don't get a burn there, which is unfortunate, but yeah, they go for another flinch. Like this endgame is just Alamomola PP stalling this Rachi. Thankfully it doesn't go for all 40 turns. So yeah, we decided to switch to Mew at this point. Mew didn't get knocked off, which is really important. If Mew gets knocked off now, we can like lose to Heart Stamp in their dream. So yeah, they get a nice flinch there. This is like just a good chance to soft-boiled as they go into Chomp. And this is a free Willow here because even if they Earthquake, it only does like 20%. So yeah, that does nothing. We just Willow in case they like try to double switch. And Chomp dies to the burn. This lets Rachi come in. We don't want to get tricked or anything here, so I believe... Nope, we just stay in. And go for Wisp, because if they trick, we just win with the Wisp play. So they don't flinch us, and then they just forfeit here, because like they can't beat Alamomola or Mew or deal with Scarflander or Lopunny or anything. So that was it was an okay game. Like if they had sub, it basically just came down to whether we got that prediction right versus a sub Gara, and they turned out to not be sub anyway, so we got through the Fire and Flames. So GG bros. And then in round 3, we got the strongest team in the... let me just switch sides here. We got like one of the strongest teams, which was TDK, CBB, Crash and Boom Bang, and Blunder. So yeah, this time we just brought... like every round we'd sort of try to build, but it just wouldn't work, so I brought this... this is probably my favorite ORAS team. I can't say it's like my favorite team of all time, but towards late ORAS, this is the only team that inspired me to enjoy playing. So yes, you probably remember it from my live with this team, but if not, you can go and watch that. It's the one with the worst title on my channel. What did we see here? Gengar is a massive threat to this team. No Ghost Resists is sort of normal in OU. Skarmory also beats really everything except Rotom, and I guess Ferrothorn because we don't have Taunt. So yeah, we have a decent matchup here. Mega Metagross has like no switch-ins despite us having 3 or 4 physical walls on this team. So yeah, I think we were expecting the Rotom lead. Venusaur also has an incredible matchup because like he has counterplay to it, but none of it's switching in easily. So really with Venusaur predicting the Rotom lead because Rotom is a pretty great lead for them even if we lead Venusaur because Giga Drain doesn't kill. So we just go for the Giga here because Venusaur is such a big threat that burning this in exchange for losing like 70% of Rotom's health is actually a good play for them. Especially when they can Pain Split on Skarm and Suicune. So yeah, HP Fire and Sludge Bomb are things that Advantage and Lysergic and I considered, but we went with Giga Drain because we thought Wisp was their best play. And we're actually faster because Snowy runs a lot of speed on this. I beefed it up a bit so it will be faster than Adamant Max Speed Banned T-Tar. So now it's even better. And there is no chance they sack Rotom here because they can Pain Split so easily with this. So I think we go for HP Fire, fearing Pharaoh and Metagross much more than Lati, considering we have Spidef, Skarm, and T-Tar to deal with Lati. So HP Fire is our best play here. And we catch the Ferrothorn, which is great. That does 62, so I'm not going to... I think that's just standard Pharaoh, but I don't know. Like, it doesn't really matter enough for me to bring up the calc. So they go for Protect here, and we just HP Fire again. And now Venusaur's getting a bit low, so we just decide to heal, predicting, like, a Lati switch. Because they're not, like, none of us have Defog. Well, the Lati might, but it's more likely that they're Spikes plus Rocks on this team, so they probably don't have Defog, we don't have Defog. And if they lose their Ferrothorn, this is their Spiker, so at that point they just kind of lose the hazard game. So there's no way they like sack this here to get, you know, let us get all those spikes up and have them with nothing on the field. So we just Synthesis here, keeping Venusaur healthy as they go to their Lando. And we just Giga here because, like, no Lando can pressure us. If they U-turn, we don't take too much and we get to chip whatever they switch into. So they get up their Rocks. And I think we thought this was Scarf Lando. Because, again, this team, like, loses to Bishop if you're not Helmet Chomp, so... yes, everyone just likes losing to Bishop. So, yeah, if we get a crit there, which helps, like, to chip this. And we just get it again here, because, again, we don't really lose anything by doing it. So Venusaur's still at 85, Lati is in. We can go to Skarm or T-Tar here. We decide to go to T-Tar, I think. Just to try to trap this, because we don't really need T-Tar for much in this game, although it is really nice to revenge this Metagross with Scarf T-Tar. So they make an okay double there into Metagross, predicting like Skarm, which you can just T-Punch, and this, which you can either outspeed and mash, or live any hit from Scarf and kill with mash. So we go for a switch to Suicune here, because they really have to mash it in this situation in our eyes. But the best way to use these breaking Megas is just to play them really aggressively, and they do that here and go for Thunder Punch. So at this point, Suicune, which was also looking like a pretty good Mon, is kind of useless, so we hope to live the next Thunder Punch and just get off a Scald, and ideally burn this giant threat. So yeah, we do live, we do 25 and don't burn him. Now it's still not in range of Scarf T-Tar, which is arse. So here we just go to Chomp, because we can weaken it into range of Scarf Crunch if he attacks with Ice Punch. And it has a very high chance to kill, but if it doesn't, we get Rocks up, which is nice. But sadly, we just die. Another play would have been going to Gengar and risking the tie, but like Gengar wins and we're sub-Hex, so we can't even kill Metagross from where it's at. And it's not like switching out is their better play, because they lose to Gengar, we lose to Metagross, so we have some sort of way of beating Metagross without risking Gengar. And they have some ways of beating Gengar without risking Metagross, but like going straight to Gengar and just risking the tie was not something we even really considered. So we go to T-Tar here. We've got 50-50 Jesus Mob Barley on our team, so this isn't even a prediction here. We just pursuit this Metagross nice and easy, and somehow they stay in. Like, Mob Barley has never lost a 50-50 in his life, but this time he did, unfortunately. So T-Tar dies, and now it's about that time when we risk the speed tie with Gengar. Now, at this point, they have done so much work with Metagross, they have, like, such an advantage that it is actually probably smarter for them to switch. Because this is, like... Actually, I'm not sure whether it's smart to switch here. But in any case, they decide to keep the Metagross because they can come in on this turn Skarm Spikes and like get a Thunder Punch off and just get another kill. So keeping it was smart there. We just go for Hex, and then we decide to sub on this Lando to try to dodge Stone Edge, as I think they U-turn. So yeah, we get the Gengar in with a sub, so now we just get like 5 million kills. We have Sludge Bomb, which kills Rotom from here, so we just go for that. This forces them into Ferrothorn, I think. So we get to just wisp this and then kill it with Hex as he TDK breaks the sub with Gyro Ball. So that we burn this and Gyro breaks the sub, but then we can just kill this with Hex, and that brings in, I think, their Lati. I'm fairly sure that's like their only play. So unless they're Scarf Chomp, but yeah, they go to Lati. Advantage / Tennis actually had this team because TDK is like one of the nicest guys and one of the best builders, and unfortunately his niceness stabbed him in the back here because he gave his team to one too many people, and so we knew all of the sets. So it's sub SD Chomp. Actually, no, it's not sub SD, it's Endure SD, but we played a lot of this game thinking it was sub SD because I'm dumb. And Scarfed Laddie with Trick. So we have to make some like super wild plays to beat this Laddie. They double to Metagross here, expecting our Skarmory, with a fantastic nickname reference to the... No, if you know the reference, you're cool, but if you don't, then you don't deserve to enjoy this nickname. So yeah, we have to just like take this trade here, taking 50% from the Thunder Punch and killing him with Iron Head. Skarm is definitely a win condition from here. It walls Laddie and like everything else, but it is very low, so we're in a... like, a lot of these next turns took us like 5 or 10 minutes. So they bring Laddie in here. We know it's Scarf, so their best play is Psyshock, I think. I'm not sure. I forget what we do here. Because like they're obviously going to trick us, but if they're Scarf HP Fire staying... Oh no, Scarf HP Fire doesn't kill, so I think we go for a switch into Gengar here, expecting the trick. And that's because if they Psyshock, we get to Roost with Scarm and we still have a chance of winning. Whereas if they trick and we stay in, we basically lose, I think. So they do go for trick and we get the Scarf there. There was some turn earlier when they doubled Lati out of Gengar. Let's go back to that turn. This turn, they brought Lati in to threaten us out, and they double to Metagross. So what this does is it scouts for what we would do against a trick Lati. So this turn, if they triggers a Scarf, like, we're not completely screwed. And so, yeah, their best play is probably, like, Psyshock, in my opinion, because if they trick and we just stay in with Gengar, they lose to Skarm. So they either need to, like, Psyshock or make some double, which they do into Metagross, and we've already seen what happens here. So we go to Gengar on the trick, and everyone was just losing their mind, but we did know the team, so, yes. We give them the Black Sludge. This turn took, like, the longest out of the whole game. Because if we Hex and kill this, Chomp can kind of set up, but if we spam Wisp, the Chomp can't set up, but then we lose Gengar. So yeah, it's a really tough turn. We decided to go for Wisp because we can always switch out and go to Venusaur, and even if the Chomp gets its +1 speed, we have the Scarf Gengar now from the trick to Revenge Kill it with, or like Wisp it, and then Venusaur prevents the Chomp from getting enough SD boosts to kill Skarmory, so we'll get our Roost with Skarmory, and then Skarm will basically win. So yeah, we decide to Hex here, we get like absolute min damage, and they trick their Scarf back, which is not something we considered. Like, we could have gone to Venusaur there, but that would have been absolutely insane. With retrospect though, their best play was trick there, because the only way we 100% win is if we go for Hex and don't kill it, and they go for Psyshock and kill us, then we double down because of the Black Sludge on Lati, and then Skarm just comes in and roosts and wins. So yeah, they made the right play by tricking the Scarf back, and then I don't remember what we do here. We go to Venusaur just to like sack it, expecting either Psyshock, which gives Skarm the roost, or Trick, which we don't get tricked. So they bring in Chomp here, which is quite wild. This is a like mega 50-50 here because they can go for Dragon Rush. This has Dragon Rush and kill like Tuakeo, Skarm, Oko, Gengar, or Tuakeo, Venusaur, and we can't like do anything with Venusaur to this Chomp. Well, we can, but if they SD and we stay in, they can just like get their Salac, and we thought they had Sub, which made this like even harder. So yeah, at +2 they can kill the Skarm, and yes, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit. But yeah, if they SD, then Gengar is the only play that like works out for us, because if we lose Skarm, we don't really have a chance of winning, because then Psyshock sweeps us from Lati. If they Dragon Tail, the only play that wins is staying in. But like, even I think Dragon Rush is probably the better play here, looking at it now. But yeah, it's basically like they have one play that works in 66% of chances or 66% of situations, and one play that works in another 66% of situations. So yeah, this is just like a ridiculous 50-50 here. So we decided to go to Gengar expecting the SD, and thankfully we get that right. Like, I can't understand why they wouldn't Dragon Rush, looking back at it now. I guess if they Dragon Rush, they always need to stop the Scarm from healing, so I understand SD, actually. Because if Scarm heals, like, it's just over for them. So we get that play right with Gengar, and now because it's Dragon Rush, we decide to just, like, spam sub and hope they miss. Even if they hit all of their Dragon Rushes, we get to burn this and then heal with Scarm, and then, like, even if they go to Laddie, we're at 85% or so, and we can just, like, Iron Head sweep through their team. With a Scarf, we'll outspeed their Lando, which is in range of Iron Head, I think. I'm pretty sure it's at, like, really low HP, but the replay is not cooperating and showing me what HP it's at. So yeah, we can, like, Iron Head through the team, which would be... Laddie would just die. Lando, I think, is in range of Iron Head, and Chomp would, like, not be able to SD up enough to kill 85% Skarmory, because it would be burnt and have no attack boost. So, yep, we just, like, spam sub here, because at this point it's our best play, but I'm pretty sure even without misses we would... Well, yeah, spoilers. But, like, even without misses we would have been able to have probably close to guaranteed win, although I haven't, like, gone through and calced all of it, because maybe Chomp could SD up enough to hurt the Skarmory enough to kill it. But yeah, they missed there, which just, like, almost secures the game as long as we hit this Wisp, which we do, and, like, subbing is still our best play, because if they miss again, we just, like, sweep with Hex. So this is our last chance, and they do miss, and now Hex just, like, Oko's this, I think, most of the time, and Gengar just, like, clicks Hex 3 times and wins. So, yeah, we managed to pull through thanks to Tennis, the Team Thief, and that puts us into round 4 against, okay. So this time, I was asleep while they were playing, so this was just Advantage and Mob, playing Rare Poison, Zoroark, and Finchinator, some tournament players. So yeah, I chose this team, I guess, like, I provided this team. Cosine made this team. It's one of my favorite ORAS teams. Just like a Mega Metagross bulky offense with Focus Punch Loom. And they brought this team. I don't think we, like, prepared specifically for these guys either. So yeah, Tennis basically just, like, ascended in this game. So let's just enjoy. We lead with Lando, which is Scarf, and I think we just U-turn here, expecting them to. Oh no, we edge. My bad. And they go into Sizz. We edge again here, expecting a double into, like, Kyurem or I don't know. Actually, I don't really understand edging again. They just thought there would be some double happening, but, like, Heatran is the obvious switch in, or I guess Rotom. So, like, doubling to Kyurem is pretty good for them there. But there was so, like, a myriad of plays they could make there to capitalize on a double. So yeah, edge is a bit wild. They do go for superpower though, so it works out well. I guess that's why you would edge again. So that gives a chance for Heatran to come in. And that means rocks can go up, because they have to roost that turn to keep their Sizz alive. So rocks go up as this Kyurem comes in, and Tennis knows the Earth Power is coming, so he goes to Rotom. Rotom is, like, somewhat expendable in this game. It's nice for Taunty, but, like, even if they Draco there, I guess you get Metagross in and just start, like, killing stuff. And they have Scissor for Metagross. Yeah, I'm not sure about Rotom there, but, like, this Kyurem does just get kills if it predicts correctly, so yes. Rotom's just going to Volt Switch there, knowing that, like, the ground type is not the switch in, so Clef gets caught, and that lets Breloom just put something to sleep. And I think Tennis just, like, goes insane here and Focus Punches the Sizz on the way in. So yeah, they're not going to want to leave Clef in and, like, let us Swords Dance and Bullet Seed. So yeah, Sizz comes in, and Tennis just goes insane once again and Focus Punches on the Roost, because that's actually not as wild as it seems. Like, if you keep Sizz at 27%, Metagross basically pummels their team. So yeah, it can't really heal on anything. So that play was totally fine. And that puts it in range of Mach Punch, so they're going to switch into Taunt to take the Mach Punch. And now here, if they Hurricane and, like, Rotom comes in, they just lose so much momentum. So Tennis goes insane once again and predicts the U-turn and just stays in and goes for Bullet Seed, which takes out the remaining 6% on Sizz. And I guess they have to go back to Torn here. They don't really have another play. So yep, Torn comes in, and Tennis, always one step ahead, switches into Tran on the... he does U-turn again, unfortunate. That lets Drill come in, but like Lando is an easy switch in. So I guess Lando would come in here, yep. And it is Scorfed, so actually Earthquake there, just because the Lando is like so obvious. And Knockoff is nice and safe there because you get rid of like Kurum's item and then you outspeed it, or it's weaker without its Scarf or Specs respectively. And if they go to Torn expecting the Earthquake, that gets rid of its item and 2AKOs it. If they go to Rotom, you get rid of the item, so yeah, Knockoff was fine there. And another Knockoff is fine here, so yeah, Rotom takes 30, loses its leftovers. I guess Laddie would be the play here, which it is, and Volt Switch happens, knowing that a switch is coming. That lets Clef in, which is still asleep, so this is a chance to get Metagross in, I guess, as the Clef wakes up immediately and goes for Rocks. And now something is basically dying to Mash, so goodbye Clefable. Yeah, once they lose Sizz, this game is just like impossible against Metagross for them, so Heatwave is not a KO on this, so we can just like take the kill with Ice Punch here. Drill, I think, is Scarf, but we're always going to have the Lando to switch in, so yeah, Lando is still pretty safe here. Like, Iron Head does 35 or so, but again, they go for Earthquake, so I think we can, like, U-turn is totally fine here because we have another ground type, another ground immunity. Oh, no, we don't, so yeah, U-turn isn't really safe, so Advantage makes the right play in going for Knockoff there. Rotom goes for Volt Switch, maybe it doesn't have Pain Split, or they just want to keep the momentum up. So Drill comes in, Lando is still pretty safe just to get the Intimidate and Scout, as they just keep Earthquaking. Wild times, and Kyurem comes in here on, I guess, a Knockoff. Yeah, Knockoff is just the right play there. You 2AKO Rotom, you cover the Excadrill Earthquake play. Rotom just like, this team's pretty weak to Kyurem, but it's good when it just does nothing all game because Tennis can't be predicted. So at this point, Loom just comes in and wins. So yeah, they have like no Mach Punch switch in, so just Mach Punch this. They have like Rotom dies to Mach Punch, so it's just Mach Punch, Mach Punch, Mach Punch, and that is Tennis coming straight through. Juicy 6-0. Mob, of course, talked to him, but like Tennis made most of the ballsy plays himself. So yeah, into round 5 we go against no really recognizable players. Lord, they let me just level with you. They pretty much haxed in the previous 3 rounds, and in the other round they had Specs Keldeo versus like no water resists. The Keldeo switch in was Helmet Tangrowth. So yes, they perhaps did not deserve to be in the semi-finals, but here they are. And this is the only time we built. This is a team I made. They used Stall like a lot, with a Gliscor 3 out of 4 times. So I have a juicy Magma Storm HP Ice Heatran with Taunt Toxic, so that beats like Chansey, Gliscor, all kinds of crap. And then Manaphy with Timid, Tail Glow, Dazzling Gleam, Psychic, Scald, because they like using Venusaur and Amoonguss and Kyurem Black to check Manaphy, so that set just like Tail Glows up and destroys them once the Chansey has been trapped by Heatran. And then I turned it into a competent team by covering some weaknesses and stuff. Helmet Lando, offensive Mega Venusaur with the same speed as the team we used in this game. So yeah, that's nice for Bantita. Then Subtoxic Rachi. It was Spadef, but then we realized that something... oh yeah, they would have like Gliscor to check that, so once HP Ice Tran takes out the Gliscor, Subtoxic Rachi is like a huge menace against Stall. And then Scorf Titar, because that was the best way to deal with all the remaining problems like Gengar, Zardwai, Metacham, and so on. So yeah, we have like an okay matchup here. Torn is pretty menacing, like Tran is offensive-ish, so it can't take that many hits. Sadly, Rachi doesn't have Wish, so we have no good switches into Torn. Other than that, everything is manageable. Sceptile is beaten by like Venusaur, so that's okay. Volk is beaten by Heatran unless it's HP Ground, in which case you can't deal with... Like, Volk is a stupid Pokemon. It would be insane if it wasn't weak to rocks. And it is insane because of Sableye and Rapid Spin and stuff, it being in the tier. But yeah, everything else looks manageable. It's just that Torn that's a threat. So this, again, I wasn't around for this game. Regardless of the outcome of this game, we lost because scheduling was like the worst nightmare. No, second worst nightmare of my life. I'm not criticizing them for this, but they weren't very good at speaking English, and that does make things a little bit more difficult, but like it's fine. So I think we decided to play it. No, they wouldn't give us their availabilities, but they would tell us that our availabilities didn't suit them. And so after like 10 days of, or maybe not that long, a week or something of me trying to schedule with them, they made an activity post like, hey, we can't play, so we should just get the win, even though we haven't given our opponents any availabilities. But thankfully, Roses, my good friend who was hosting this tournament, is not insane, so he didn't give them the win. We eventually got to play. They wanted to play at 4 to 9 p.m. GMT minus 6. They told me they were GMT plus 6, but they're actually GMT minus 6. And then I said, okay, how about 6 to 9 p.m. your time? But I gave them the Australian time, which they can easily like convert back into their time. And then they didn't like know which time I was giving them. And then I showed up at the time we scheduled, and they had already played because they... Second worst experience of my life. So they lead with Torn, which is like good because Heatran can deal with this better than almost anything on the team. So Magma Storm is obviously the best play here. Like even if they go to Starmie, we trap them, and then T-Tar or whatever can come in and give them the business. So yeah, Magma Storm is the play here. They just go for a little Specs Focus Blast. Heatran barely eats that up. And, like, at this point, we have no Torn... I mean, Volcarona countermeasure, but, like, we had no Torn countermeasure either, so what were we meant to do? But yeah, Specs Focus Blast, wild as hell. Tran is at 7%, so, like, let's just hope they miss. And they do hit 2 in a row. This lets Venusaur come in, I think. Like, Venusaur is a pretty big threat to their team. With Specs Torn, like, they have no... Well, they have Volcarona, but yeah, that's not a switch in at all. So Sludge Bomb does a ton to Lando and poisons it, so we know it's offensive Lando. Maybe it's Rock's Clef. But no, this is the Rocker after all. And this is going to let us get our rocks up for the Volk, yep. Because even if Starmie comes in, we get a chance to trap it with T-Tar. And like at this point, this is kind of like the Gara game. Like the priority is just keeping rocks up for that Volk. So they go for Scald and don't get the burn, as Earthquake is the best play there. They're actually offensive Scald, I think, because this is like Helmet Lando, so that Scald shouldn't have done that much, and that Earthquake shouldn't have done that much to a defensive Starmie. So yeah, now they just go for Scald again, as I imagine Tennis went for Rocks that turn, and this lets Scarf T-Tar come in to just trap this. But you can't Pursuit here, because then Volcarona sets up, so Tennis makes the right play and goes for Crunch. Again, this is he and Lysergic playing, not me, because they played... These people demanded that they played before I woke up to play at the scheduled time. So that lets his Lando come in. I don't think this is in range of Crunch, so the T-Tar has to switch out. It's like the best check we have to Volcarona at this point. They just go for U-turn to bring in their Sceptile, I guess? Yep. We do still have Rachi and Venusaur to switch in, but I can't remember what happens this turn. So they actually double out there? Predicting something? I guess Rachi, so they didn't have Earthquake, that's fair. So Torn comes in, again we just have to like stay in. Never mind, we're going to Venusaur because we need the Rachi healthy enough to deal with the Clef. So Venusaur like kind of gets sacked there. They have, sick, I did it again. So yeah, back here we are. They go for U-turn here expecting a switch. Like we can't lose Rachi because that is our Clef countermeasure. So Venusaur is more expendable. Also, they'll probably go for Heat Wave or Knock Off there, so Venusaur is fine. But yeah, they bring in their Volk. They're not running an odd HP number, which is very nice. So yeah, like we can't really do anything against this. So they go for Quiver Dance, and thank the Lord, Sludge Bomb poisons. So now this is under control. It's bulky, but it doesn't have leftovers, which is curious. So now the best play is just hard switching into T-Tar, because if they attack, they die. If they roost, this is still the best play. And you are going to just... Your mind is about to be blown, so prepare yourself. Giga Drain, yum, snap. Snack. And they are Charty Berry. So I don't know which Stone Edges that helps you live. Maybe like defensive Lando, but that's wild. Thankfully T-Tar is strong enough to do 61% to Charty Berry Volk. Now Clef comes in, Edge is fine here as that actually does 5 million, so it's like max Spidef, I suppose. Actually, no, it's probably just like normal calm Clef. T-Tar does do that much. So it's Cosmic Power, in comes Rachi on the soft-boiled, and I think Ironhead was the best play here because like Cosmic Power, Thunderwave isn't a set, and even if it is, they're only going to have stored power on that, so I think Ironhead was the best play here, but Tennis goes for sub as this lets them set up again, so now we need more flinches to beat it. So here we go, it's Rachi doing Rachi things, as we don't get the flinch there. I did mention that these people were quite lucky. Plop, so yeah, this is just Rachi going for Ironhead, they just don't get flinched again. I'm going to skip through these, so Ironhead, they don't get flinched for the third time in a row. Ironhead does like nothing now because they have +4 flinch. Ironhead, and they flinch. Ironhead, and they go for stored power, which doesn't break the sub. I don't really agree with stored powering there, but it's whatever. So soft-boiled here. So our flinch rate is something like 20% at the moment, which is sick. So they break the... No, they still don't break the sub there. And I think this actually has charge beam, so I don't really know why they aren't going for that. So flinch, yep, nice. Now he just need like a few flinches, but no, not going to happen. Ironhead, flinch, soft-boiled, flinchy. They did go for charge beam at some point. You can see the +1 special attack, so I don't know why they were sword powering this, but that's their choice. So now we're out here. We only have like a few Ironheads left. Plop, plop, plop. Justice is served, and Rachi is back at full. So they just forfeit because Rachi steamrolls them, I guess. GG was Closet. And that puts us into the final against Omfuga, ABR, and Shake It Up. Some of the best OU players on this site. So Snowy somehow knew... Oh yeah, Snowy's been in like a million of these games. He was in this one too because we used his team and he helped us. And he was in the first one, I think I mentioned that. He's one of the Oceania brothers, and then he was in this game. We're using this team for... Did I say who all the teams were? Yeah, I said who made all the teams, but this is a Ben Gay team. Ben Gay is like my favorite player, probably one of my favorite players. It's SD past Gliscor into Mega Metagross with no Meteor Mash, Acro Torn, and then Spidef Tran, Helmet Tangrowth, and Scarf Laddie. So this team is like very, very cool. And they brought this Slowbro, Clef, Tarak balance that ABR and Omfuga have used quite a lot. So that meant we knew the team. They knew our sets as well because Ben used this in SPL last year. He won with it in a very good game against X-Ray. It was actually a bit of a snack for Ben, but he almost choked it away because he wanted to flex at the end, but he succeeded in flexing, so nothing was lost. Slowbro basically wins. We have Tangrowth to like slow it down kind of, but like at +1 Spidef we're not touching it. We have Toxic on Tran. Tran is a pretty big threat to their team, so is +2 attack Metagross from the SD past Gliscor. So yeah, that's our plan is basically to win with Metagross. They're also quite weak to flying types, so Torn can do work if we pass it +2 attack from Gliscor, and then +2 Acro does a number to their team. So I believe we lead... Oh yeah, we're very scared of Specs Laddie as well, so we decide to lead with Torn, I think, because that's the best way to deal with Laddie. And Torn has a decent matchup against most things, and we can always U-turn if we don't have a good matchup. So they lead with Slowbro. We can't really do anything here. They can just Scald freely, so we decide to U-turn into Tangrowth, because Tangrowth is going to have a lot on his hands in this game, but he's going to have to get burnt eventually, so we just let it take its Scald, as they don't burn us, and this is an easy Sleep Powder. We considered going for Knockoff here, because if Laddie has Sleep Talk, that's bad. And they know we're Helmet based on the Scald damage, so yes, we go for Sleep Powder there, and they stack their Terrakion, which is relatively useless. This is Scarf Toxic, but between like Gliscor, and Tangrowth is not going to be doing too much, so that was a good sleep fodder. And here we double into Gliscor to get the Poison Orb activated, expecting probably Clef to come in, but like, it wasn't exactly like 100% guaranteed thing that they would go to Clef. It's just their safest place. They go to Lando here. Now the best play is U-turn, because Lando like underspeeds Gliscor. We think this is HP Fire, which is ABR's favourite way of beating Mega Sizz, but their best play is U-turn if they have it, because if we start like SDing and they just go for rocks, then they have to switch into like a +2 knockoff, which is just really bad for them, or +2 facade or whatever. So yes, that's nasty, or they take a huge hit with Lando, but if we go straight for B-Pass expecting them to set rocks up and into Metagross, that's really good because we get to Mega Evolve and then we're faster than Excadrill, which is jolly Mold Breaker but not Scarf. It's like Leftovers, which is a set that Sabella came up with, who was our round 1 opponent, who we didn't end up playing. But yeah, we decided to SD because we can't like risk dry passing to Metagross, because if we take U-turn damage, that's really bad. We're at range of Earthquake from Exco, which we don't have speed. So we decided to go for SD, and they just get up their rocks. So that's a bit sad that we didn't get Metagross in, but it's okay. And here we B-pass into Torn, expecting the U-turn, because Torn outspeeds everything except Tarak, which is asleep and gets off that big Acro on whatever they want to bring in. If they go to Slowbro, this is going to take a ton from +2 Acro. Yep, nice 63, that's some very hot damage, and they go for Scald and don't burn us, thankfully. Lando is the switch in now. It does just about take 2 of those, so we're going to die to Helmet. Like, this Taunt is so weak, we're not going to get that many chances to defog in this game. So we decided to sack the Taunt to heavily weaken this Lando, which means Metagross will be freer later, like we won't have to predict around Intimidate quite so much. So we just go for Acro here, and we get a much better roll, so Lando dies and Taunt dies. That's like okay for us, probably better for them because they got rocks up and everything. Now we go to our Scarf Laddie because we have to cover their Scarf Laddie, their Specs Laddie, because like Specs Surf is very problematic. So they have 2 switch-ins here. Clef is the safest. Exca like dies to Surf and doesn't actually take Life Orb or Specs hits that well. So we decided that Trick is the best play, because if Exca comes in, it gets the Scarf, and like Tang is pretty easy at that point. And if Clef comes in, we give it the Scarf and it's completely neutralized. They wouldn't sack Laddie because we have no switch-ins for Specs Surf and Specs Draco, so we have a Trick here as they just stay in. So that was a pretty dodgy play in my opinion. I guess they thought Trick was... What they actually thought... I'll show you the chat, I guess. They actually thought that because their Laddie came out first, they were faster. That's what Sylvia Lineman Men thought. That's Shake It Up's ult. They just decided that they were faster because we outsped them. Sorry, they were faster because they came in first, which isn't a mechanic, but Shake It Up's only been playing for like, I don't know, 6 years, so that's understandable that he didn't know. So yeah, that was really bad. This does give us a chance to evolve our Metagross though, so it ain't all bad. And Hammer Arm is the best, well, not the best play, it's kind of a prediction here, because we thought they wouldn't, no one risks Slowbro, because that's their win condition, so if we Thunder Punch, they just like, I don't know, it doesn't kill, but they lose a lot of HP, and they're only at 70%, so they'd be at like 20, which is just bad for their best win con. So I thought, and we sort of agreed, that their best play was Excadrill, because you are immune to T-Punch if we go for that, and if we go for Hammer Arm, we have like -1 speed, which doesn't really matter, but they can heal Slowbro after that. So going for Hammer Arm, trying to catch the Drill, because if they like go to Drill on the Thunder Punch, Hammer Arm still kills, but they can pivot into Slowbro, so it just, you know, made more sense to try to get our kill that turn, because we have to capitalize on having a good position. But we miss Hammer Arm, which I guess is beneficial because we don't get the -1 speed, so we still are faster than Excadrill. So here I think we go for T-Punch, or Ice Punch, sorry, expecting them to either stay in or go to Drill. They go to Clef, and they ended up knowing this team because Ben used it in a high-profile game, so they know we don't have Medium Mash. Clef is relatively useless anyway because we have this and Heatran and Gliscor, but I thought it was important to keep Clef for the Tangrowth, but they thought otherwise, so yes, they did know the team, so like going into Clef was fine. And this sadly forces us out into Gliscor, and they just heal up. I am stupid, and I thought +2 Bullet Punch wouldn't OHKO this because of how much that Thunder Punch or Ice Punch did, but I forgot that Metagross had Stab Bullet Punch, and nobody on my team corrected me, so that was like something that influenced how we played the endgame. So we just SD here, because their best play is Slowbro. They go to Lati. The only reason to do this is to have, if you have Trick, because if you then Trick as a Scarf, we can't get +4 into Sweep with Metagross. Scarf Surf, their Scarf now, only has a 36% chance to 2 a KO Gliscor. So if they go into this and they're only like Surf, that means they lose 64% of the time basically guaranteed, because +4 Thunder Punch I think Oko Slowbro, but maybe not. I think it would. So yeah, they like just totally lose if that happens. If we get +4 and pass, which happens 64% of the time if they're just Surf. So I, like, after a lot of debate with my teammates, we decided to B pass, because if we get tricked in SD, we just basically lose, because like we can't win without passing to Metagross. This is bad though, because if they just like go for Surf, which again is bad, like you wouldn't go to this if you only had Surf as opposed to Trick. So we go for B pass here, because even like +2 Metagross can do some work. So yeah, they just go for the Surf. They get like a high damage roll, so they probably would have 2-KO'd us, but I don't think Laddie was the play if you only had Surf as opposed to Trick. I think you had to go straight to Slowbro and just go for like a Mega Evolution Scald. But I guess it works out for them. So this is bad, because after the Surf damage, Clef's Flamethrower will KO Metagross, and again, I'm stupid, so I thought +2 BP wouldn't KO Clef. So yes, this is not a great position for us. We just Ice Punch knowing that they'll stay in. Now they go to Slowbro, but these guys are really strong players, so we know they're not just going to like sack Slowbro to the Thunder Punch. It is a roll, but it can kill, and there's no real reason for them to risk that when they can just sack Excadrill to get regen, so we go for Ice Punch here. This was a nice aggressive play, and we nab the Excadrill. So now Slowbro comes back in, and the game is kind of just down to whether they burn with this Scald. The roll is in our favor to live. It does like 33 or 32 to 39%, we're at 37, so we should live. So they Mega Evolve and go for Scald. Thunder Punch is an easy 2-KO. And we just live, and we don't get burned, so now we just go for Thunder Punch to kill the Tarak. And yeah, he hasn't slept yet, so Thunder Punch is a better play than Bullet Punch, which is our coverage move. In comes Clef. We decided to get damage here, because then Heatran wins, because it can just come in and taunt. If they switch, we get to Toxic the Slowbro, and Scald doesn't kill us. And if they stay in, their Clef can't touch us, because it's Calm Mind Flamethrower. So yeah, we just go for +2 BP, and it just OKOs, because of course that would OKO based on the Ice Punch damage. And we win the whole tournament. So yeah, GG guys. This game was really fun, and the game against Blunder and TDK and CBB was really fun. The other ones weren't that good, but like they weren't easy wins either. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. We ended up winning the whole ghosting tournament. Thanks to Snowy as well. Snowy was basically a bigger member of this team as any of us, because he gave us one team and was in like 3 of the ghosting chats to help us win. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Goodbye, ORAS. This is probably the last ORAS content you'll see on my channel. Although maybe I'll like narrate some ORAS SPL games, because it will still be played as a past generation OU tier. So yep, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.